necessarily sure if that worked or not, but I guess we find ourselves here on another day, on another interesting day, if you know what I mean. Suffering the loss of great tragedies. Right, never ended. Oh fuck. Now I need to change the name of this stream, which is gonna be about fasting. Today we talk about fasting. The only reason why I thought I would talk about fasting is because I have no idea what to talk about that doesn't involve me talking about aspects of woo-woo that might get heavy. I mean, heavy. I think my last stream was already heavy enough with the fact that, like, I had to bring it up to people's attention that there's been a long history of medical tyranny in America, and explaining why decisions have been made and why we're seeing what we're seeing. So today we're going to talk about fasting. Fasting. I'm gonna call it fasting and the dangers of what? Do something catchy, you know what I mean? Something that rolls off the tongue because people already are inclined not to believe fasting. Oh, but Dr. Fauci. Oh, yes. Yes. What do I need to do, Dr. Fauci? You are a saint that walks upon this earth. Mr. Fauci, tell me, what do I do with my life? That's not necessarily appropriate of me, but who give a fuck? Actually, yeah. Look at that. Alright, what talk about? Yeah. Look, I gotta write out this whole thing, you know what I mean? Gotta be kosher with it, you know, can't be held liable about nothing, you know what I'm saying? Cause them motherfuckers catch me up, and then I'm like, oh, dude, I didn't mean that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think you're taking what I'm saying out of context. That ain't cool, dog. Like, how about we not do that, dog? Like, how about you just not, like, you know what I mean? Like, how about you just don't do me like that? And then right, I think I could start talking about anything I want to talk about. We could talk like an Australian. Probably try to make myself sound a rib. I don't know. I thought I got the what do you call them? Aborigines. Oh, dude, one of the newest, funniest channels that I had found that relate to tarot is the Autistic Mystic. That was new. I was not expecting you to call yourself that. I don't think anybody would expect you to call yourself that. But hey, you know, to each their own. You do you. I think I could lean this further back because I will. So why not? No. So yeah, fasting. What do I know about fasting? So yeah, I discovered fasting, I want to say 2019. But prior to fasting, I'm somebody who pays attention. Like, I'm anything that, like, if you really want to distract me, don't try to distract me like head on, right? Like, if you want to distract me, you got to distract me with my peripheral vision. I just pay attention to everything, like literally everything. It's call it a bad habit. You can say whatever you will about it, right? So I'm somebody who pays attention with I obscenely pay attention to the way that I walk. I pay close attention to the way that I talk. I pay very close attention to the way people will sometimes pronunciate certain words more than necessary. Like, I'm just somebody who pays attention way too much. It comes out of a habit of Like I used to be a really big fan of Sherlock Holmes. So like that whole thing of like you got to be attentive, you got to be aware, you got to be about your wits and have deductive reasoning, if you know what I mean. Aspects of that. So I pay close attention to everything that I do. It's why I'm super autistic about everything that I get into. Like, I didn't tell anybody, but I was teaching myself how to, like, I was practicing piano chords. Made a bit of music. Yeah, I made a bit of music, so you'll see that at the synchronic episode. But I just have this obsessive need to just understand things in a variety of ways, to my detriment. So this is how I get into fasting. So one of the ways I got into fasting was, I think I was around 400 pounds. It had gotten to a point where I knew for a fact that my largest pair of pants, which I think were 52s or 50s, they didn't fit me anymore. Like if I sat down in them, I had to. I still vividly remembering having to unbutton those pants, and those were the only pair of pants that fit me. I'm like literally fit me. Like I still have sweats. Or sweats? I don't know what you would call them, but I don't know. I use them to work out now. But there's the elastic band is so damaged on them that it just really reminds me of like where I started off with this journey. But at the time I was paying attention to how my hands felt. Right? Since I was always on the computer, I was always kind of like just messing with my hands. I noticed that like it became more difficult for me to open and close my hands. I noticed that I started getting like I don't know what you would call them, like inflamed feet. Like I don't know how to explain that. I started seeing a lot of different symptoms arise from just my unnaturally bad habit of eating. And I'm talking about unnatural, like, right? Like people don't understand, like energy drinks don't do anything to me. I can drink energy drinks all day, doesn't matter. I filter them all out. Caffeine, very to little no effect. If I want to get some serious caffeine, I need really dark roast coffee, and I'm talking about I need some like serious coffee to like fuck with it. But I'm not trying to. I don't chase the dragon. You know what I mean? So I don't really care. I just enjoy coffee. I just enjoy energy drinks. It doesn't mean shit to me. But it was at a time where I was drinking copious amounts of energy drinks. Actually, I couldn't even drink energy drinks at the time because it hurts my stomach. Right? So like most energy drinks on the market actually burn when I drink them. Like it's not okay. Either way. Right? This is when I'm like 400 pounds. What am I eating? I don't even know. I'm like eating. I want to say I'm eating at least the portions of three individual people to myself. Not very good. Unnatural. Just sugar to the extremes, right? So I would have, like, I had this big jug that was like used for when you were doing sports or stuff like that, and then you would fill it up, right? And then you would, right? So I would fill up one of those things with full of iced coffee with creamer, sugar, and I think the sugar I was using at the time was just straight white sugar, like was just the worst sugar you could possibly use. Everything processed for sure. I ate like all of the frozen food stuff. That was my go-to. Like I did not go out of my way to cook chicken. I did not go out of my way to do any of that stuff. I bought everything from like fast food joints, restaurants, the taco stands, the shop that I have right here around the corner. Anything that was easy to go, pastas, right? That's actually very unnatural for me, right? I grew up my entire life eating pastas, rice, and now I don't think I've eaten pasta in a very long time. Very unnatural. At least from somebody who knew me back then, and then looks at me now and they're like, "Whoa, dude, what did you do?" Like, so with fasting, it came about at a time, right? So keep in mind, I'm like, what is this? 2017. I'm 29 now. So it's like 25, 24. I don't know. This was at a time when I was like 24, 25, 26, whatever. Around that time, I'm like really heavy, like really, really obscenely heavy, right? I just remember, so I started a YouTube channel around 2018, and what, like, right, I'm noticing all these different side effects. My hands, I can't close them. I feel funny sometimes. I get heart palpitations. I can't bend down for certain things. I have a back injury. Right, so like there's that whole thing that I can't bend down, and sometimes I lock up. Like I had a long list of bullshit that I could just complain to you about. And it had gotten to a point where I couldn't do much. And I wanted to start a YouTube channel, right? And in starting this YouTube channel, I noticed a few things while all of these problems. I got heavier, right? There's like, I have 2 different YouTube channels, and I got heavier. I'm talking about the first one. I got heavier the more time progressed on. And I don't know. I can't say that I was a big fan of it, but oh wait. Oh no. Oh no, okay. I got scared that the audio wasn't getting through. But so around this time in the YouTube videos, I started cropping out the bottom of myself because I got wide enough that like I couldn't hide it anymore. The other problem was I could hear myself breathe in an very natural way, and having to edit all of those videos and having to constantly listen to myself, right? I think I got like 300 episodes, 400 episodes, and this was a daily. Was it a daily upload, or did I just upload? There was just so much news, right? I didn't have a format. There was a lot that I couldn't do at this time. I couldn't think properly. I couldn't formulate thoughts. Like the thought process that I had in my head, when I tried to verbalize it, there was so much that I was missing. Like I couldn't. A lot had happened to such a point that I'm like, what's going on with me? Like, how is this all happening? Why do I feel like I can have such complex thoughts, but at the same time, why do I feel like I can't put these words down? And why do I feel like I can't make an argument? So throughout all this, right, I'm really big, fat, I have a low self-esteem, I'm having a huge disconnect with a relationship that I'm going through. And right, this is I'm just building up the idea of how the fuck I got that bad, right? Because I'm pretty sure I say 400 pounds, but who really knows? I was wide. One of the comments that I remember my niece saying to me was, "Oh, you're no longer resting your arms to the side of your body," and that means like I was resting my arms on the side of like myself, and that really was like, whoa, not okay. Besides this variety of problems, growing up, I had tried everything. I had tried everything to lose weight. Everything. I'm talking about doing every single sport, going workout, going to boxing, training, running. I ran I ran one marathon. During the training of the second marathon, I got my back injury. There's a whole lot going on at this time. So I had tried every single major dieting. I had tried everything, green salads, this, that, any kind of like variety of eating. I had tried to some degree, but right, because I pay attention to everything, I listen to everything. I can, and the way that you know I learned something is if I can build an entire concept around what you taught me. So dieting, really easy for me to build concepts about this because I've been going. I think I was anemic when I was in elementary, and because of that, my mom had to go to these classes, for learning what to eat, this and that, whatever. Variety of problems with me. But there was one thing that I never did. There was one thing that I never did. That was regulate what I was eating. In the sense of understanding systematically what I was eating. Understanding the human body in the perspective of what happens when you eat, right? So learning these systems, I quickly got about a good sense of what the body's really about, right? But then, right, me being conspiratorial, right? This was 2017. This was not 2017. My problems started 2017. They further progressed onwards, right? But in 2019, I decided to use everything I had learned about researching, about looking into things, being able to cite sources, being able to look at a variety of resources, being able to listen to differentiating opinions, but then also collaborating that with other opinions that weren't sourced here in America, right? So there's ways that you can like fuck with Google searches that instead of getting a bunch of American results, you can force yourself to get a bunch of French results. You can force yourself to get a bunch of English results. There's reasons why I was doing this, all right? So using my full Kyoto powers into researching health from a perspective of what goes on when you eat, what causes overweightness. And that's, fucking simple. You eat too fucking much, the body has nothing to do with it, so what does it do? It stores it. And that's how people get those little chubby wubs. And it gets, there's more woo-woo to this, obviously. But then there's the aspect of understanding what your body is allergic to. Now, just because you don't have an allergic reaction doesn't necessarily mean you're not allergic to some things. So one of the I had to quickly learn this is I'm slightly allergic to certain chemicals in foods. And because these allergies are spiked when I'm eating these foods that have these certain chemicals, it causes enough inflammation in my body that it slows down my metabolism. Because of that, because you have a slow metabolism, what happens with all the excess calories that you eat? Well, you build them up as fat. So that's one aspect of it. Then there's what does your body, or what is your human physiology, what does it cater to? Some people, alright, this gets really heavy into woo-woo, but some people are more likely to eat meat and it works with them. Some people are more likely to eat more veggie diets and it works for their body physiology. It all has to do with, lineages, this and that. So understanding what your body wants is a whole other level of thing. And understanding your cravings, that's actually something pretty definitive that you can lean on, and understanding like what kind of vitamins you're deficient in, like what you're looking to supplement with is what I'm saying, right? So there's a variety of things to that. What's the other one? Right, the first one is understanding that you could be slightly allergic to certain chemicals. Right, and then the second one is understanding that your body, your body as a cell has certain foods that it likes more than others. Then 3, understanding that your food, all food, has been genetically modified to some degree. So, you know what I mean? That's where you get heritage potatoes. That's where you get like lineages of certain vegetables that you could buy that are pre the whole GMO aspect of things. But in that too, there's a subsection that people don't understand, is that all vegetables, all fruits, everything is picked too early. Not and I'm not saying all food and not all fruits, vegetables suffer from this, but some fruits and some vegetables actually benefit from that last bit of time that they spend in the soil, because that's when they get the most of their nutrition. There's also the aspect of the fact that a lot of the dirt that people here use in America isn't healthy. Let alone do they actually put any funding or science into understanding how to build better soil, because we're too busy buying it from the Russians. Either way, I digress from that. So with fasting, you can't just get into fasting. You just can't, right? Because if you get into fasting without understanding you as a physiological life form and understanding how calories work, and then calories is kind of like a faulty science, but what do I know? I'm just the guy with the tinfoil. Then there's more aspects that you have to get into with what you're okay with eating. And by that I mean you have to understand like what foods give you what vitamins, what foods give you what minerals, but then there's understanding the side of what kind of vegetables did you get. Because some vegetables, like it's so fucked up for me to say this, but you're better off buying like mineral blends on your own, mineral and vitamin blends on your own, because the food that you'll buy won't have enough of it. Like, that's kind of fucked up, like, when you think about it, right? Then why are we spending all this money? Then why did they build this entire system around supermarkets? Why would they do all these things but then give us food that's not good for us? I don't fucking know, dude. Why do we give candy to children, and then why do the only institution that benefits the most off of them is dentist? And then, you know, you get crooked teeth, you get fucked up teeth, but then there's the whole other aspect of woo-woo about the science behind teeth and the formation of the chin, of the muscles, whatever. These people have no incentive to see you live a healthy lifestyle, so of course they gotta give you faulty shit. At least that's what I believe in. You don't gotta believe in me, because, you know, woo-woo, crazy guy, haha. There's more in understanding that. So, right, I started learning these bits and pieces of information slowly. And while going through all this, it becomes abundantly clear that everything you know about health is a lie. You have to abandon that system. You have to really abandon everything you know about health. And that's kind of hard, because the moment you think you do, you don't. So I've tested it on myself. Like, I'll actively eat more to get overweight, to just test certain things. Like, did I lose more weight doing this or doing that? And that's not for me, that's for my buddy. But at the end of the day, I feel like this is more valuable that I spend, right? I'm in like an in-between state. I can immediately lose everything I want to, and then I can start doing my my loose skin regimen. But that's too far. I don't need to get there yet. I need to figure out all these other steps first, which is about vitamins, minerals. So fasting is a constant learning process, because at the end of the day, you're just using human bodily functions to work in your favor. Because fasting is not something, it's a lifestyle. Yes, you're gonna live with this for the rest of your life, but at the same time, it is a human bodily function that you can also use to your benefit. When you need to detox, when you feel like you've ate too much fucked up food, when you feel like you've been drinking for too much, when you feel like you need to let some of your internal organs actually have some recovery time, fasting is that tool. Now, a good example is this. I think the two organs that heal the fastest is the human skin and the eyeball. Other internal organs take for fucking ever to heal. So don't think that fasting is going to give you all of these immediate results, because you have to understand that not you, but I mean all other people have been eating a fucked up diet, and they've been eating fucked up fat, and they've been allowing their human cell to build itself all of this junk food, right? So while you're fasting, your body is going to prioritize certain things to heal first, instead of just what you want it to heal. So I think the prioritization goes to like muscles and then like other like heavily vital organs. I can't even remember that. That's like old research that I thought I would never actually have to fucking use. Right? Because I, just sleep. Just sleep. Right? It's important to have a lot of sleep. But yeah, before I go to that part, while you're fasting, there's levels to fasting. You can't just jump in. Understanding human ability. Yeah, I think I could just go into this. So while you're fasting, you need to understand that while we've eaten all this garbage food, you can detox slightly from that. You can detox from your dependence on that. It's important to do that, because if you don't, or if you're giving this information to somebody who doesn't know about fasting, I'm assuming everybody who's watching this knows about fasting to some degree, but you can't just jump into a fast. You need to lower your dependency on sucralose, or the sugars, high fructose corn syrup, all these bad sugars and all these bad chemicals, because your body becomes addicted to it. These things are genetically modified to taste amazing to the tongue. Oh shit! Like it's why nuggies taste so good, you know what I mean? But like, you can't have the nuggies, just make your own. Make your own. Just walk away from the weird scientists who are engineering this shit to taste amazing. Stop it. Bad for you, okay? But because all of these chemicals are designed in such a capacity, your body understands that. So you can't just jump off the bandwagon and then immediately think that fasting is going to work for you. Hell no. Those withdrawal symptoms are far worse than anything I've ever felt. It's physically painful. Physically painful. Like, you start jonesing in such ways that you might have other people think you're a crackhead. And I'm not joking. It's that bad. Either way. So while you're lowering your dependency on these, the way you do that is by going through a 24-hour fast. Sounds bad, but not really. Divide 24 hours. Like, you want to hit at least 18 hours. 18 hours of no food. Because it takes 6 hours for your body to kick up that function. And it might even take a little bit longer. Actually, not really. If you do this right. Either way. You're supposed to divide 24 hours into portions of understanding of what is your eating window. How long are you giving yourself to eat? Most normal people like giving themselves a working day's worth, right? So like a 9 to 5. So what is that, like 8 hours? They like giving themselves anywhere between 5 to 8 hours for eating windows. Depending on how serious you are, you can shorten that to 1 hour. I've done 30 minutes. Don't recommend it. You're better off actually giving yourself an hour than 30 minutes, but that gets into other woo-woo. So while you're giving yourself an eating window, that means you're only allowed to eat during this specific window of time. After that, you're only allowed to drink water. Water, but the snake diet guy would suggest drinking snake juice, which is water, pink Himalayan salt, and no salt, which is a substitute for salt, but it's potassium based. These three things do a variety of things. 1, the baking soda helps clean your gut system. 2, the pink Himalayan salt and the potassium salt are primarily for like cramping, right? Because the body always needs a constant supply of salt. It's why salt is in everything. It was a huge lie for them, right? This is one of the biggest lies that people have been told, that salt is bad for you. No, it fucking isn't. The salt that's manufactured is terrible for you, but natural salt that comes from like natural places, actually it's pretty healthy for you. The human body needs a lot of it, especially if you have labor intensive jobs that require you to sweat a lot. One of the main reasons why people get cramps is because there's a lack of potassium. Either way, moving on. With fasting, you just need to maintain that figure in your head, that you will need certain supplements of salt and potassium. The baking soda is there to dissolve any kidney stones. At least that's anecdotal, me personally. We'll leave it at that, because again, you get into aspects of woo that you can't start talking to people. Because one of the things that happens when you start fasting is your body starts expelling all of the detoxes. And during that process, well, the human body doesn't necessarily know how to get rid of certain heavy things, calciums, irons, heavy metals, etc., that what it does is it stores them in places. Well, a deficiency that's pretty normal and common amongst Americans is a calcium deficiency, where we eat too much things that have forms of calcium that the body can't dissolve quickly enough that it'll store them in the kidney, and thus causing kidney stones. Most painful experience ever. But with the way I went about dealing with it, it was somewhat painful, but honestly, I doubt it could have been as painful as what I remember my cousin going through. So fasting, 24 hours. Very sorry. Lose myself in these things. So while you're fasting on a 24-hour schedule, all you're really doing is you're dividing those hours between an eating schedule. And the reason why it has to be short is because at 12 hours is when the body starts thinking about going into ketosis. Some people just won't do it. Either way, right? Oh my God, you expect me not to eat for 12 hours? I'm gonna die. Either way. What you're doing is you're just dividing 24 hours between an eating window portion and a portion when you're not eating. But if you're smart enough, you could actually time this pretty well and just go to bed. Just go to bed. Just go to bed a bit earlier. Big whoop. So the next morning, by the time it's 8, guess what? You get to eat again. But the more you do this and the more you detox, right? And when you eat, for fuck's sakes, when you eat, like if you ever deal with anybody who wants to get into fasting, you have to tell them, when you're off your fast, when you get off the fast and you want to eat food and you go back to eating junk, just tell them to quit. Just tell them to fucking quit. Fasting isn't a catch-22 I had to learn that to some degree. You have to really eat clean for at least 2 months for you to really understand like the deep human biological cell, the human cell, like understanding of it. Like that's when you really feel it. Because if you go back to just eating the junk food, you're poisoning yourself, right? So you're forcing your body to go through these cycles again of inflammation, suffering, the liver gets caught up, your metabolism slows down. So it's like, wow, it gets all this great time when it gets to heal, when it gets to do its normal thing. But then when you go off of it, it goes back to being clogged. It doesn't make sense. You gotta, you know what I mean? It's like putting that acid in the pipes to get all that shit out. It takes a good minute, right? Like I said, not all human organs heal the same way. Some take longer than others. Either way, that's the 24-hour schedule. Once you get into doing more, in reality, you're not really fasting for a full 72 hours. You're not supposed to. In reality, you're supposed to divide these hours between what your fasting period is and what your eating period is. And it's kind of funny because I have a friend that I personally told him, because he was super skinny. I'm talking about like skinnier than Pete Davidson. He's a short little guy, but like super skinny guy, right? I told him, follow a 24-hour schedule. You're supposed to eat above minimum calories, right? That's another thing. When you're fasting, you'll quickly discover what your minimum calorie intake is. That means what the minimum requirement of food is for you to eat to feel satiated for the next round of fasting. Sounds crazy, right? You might think, but what do you mean? I have to eat all this other food? I'm like, no. That's what you think you have to eat. You've never really asked your body on a normal, healthy, like a normal human physiological level diet. You've never really understood that, nor do the conditions of our society and environment allow for that behavior. So don't go thinking that like, oh no, 6 meals a day. No, nigga, shut the fuck up. You're not allowed to get fuck. Some dudes, I swear, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to play down eating. You have to fucking eat, right? Like my buddy, I told him, you're way above. Like when you think you can't eat anymore, just cut that meal in half, eat the rest of it later. You have to eat all the calories. And that is hands down. If you want to build muscle, you need to eat certain things and you need to eat them in excess. That is hands down the way it should be handled. There's no other way of handling it. Like you can maintain a 72-hour eating schedule or a 72-hour fasting eating schedule. Imagine eating for 72 hours. A 72-hour fasting schedule, you can do that and still get decent results, like with muscle, but not forever. You're only supposed to do that for one specific purpose, and that's to spike your growth hormone, and to induce recovery speeds for certain exercises. Like, that's what I was using it for, right? I was doing 72 hours, but then there's 2 days where I was just 24 hours, or at least I treated them like 24 hours because I was still trying to control how much I was eating. But it all comes down to, you want to have that bod, you got to have that lifestyle, you got to have that eating schedule. That's what it is. Just look up at any, I think it's Hollywood actors talk about fasting or something athlete related, where they're talking about the importance of eating, and how all of the dudes that had to do Marvel movies, all of them tell you straight up, you have to eat 6,000 calories and above to maintain that body. But that body, a normal person does not have that. They don't have that engine built out yet, right? Calm down, right? Like, calm down, cowboy. You're not supposed to put that much gas in that car. And that's kind of what it comes down to, because if you put too much, right, calories, excess, fat, etc. But with fasting, it's a recovery tool. It's a detox tool. It's something for you to heal your skin, heal what you think you've done to your internal organs. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, as somebody who used to be really big, as much as I've tried, there are some things that I haven't been able to lose. But when I look into it, a lot of it has to do with the fact that the human body has two types of fat. Like, one of them is like a black, like super sticky, like right? The human body builds this type of fat because of all the bad fats that we eat in fast food, that comes in everything that we eat. The other type of fat is like a more white, natural fat that comes from like when you eat actual butter, when you eat natural fats. Right now you can hear the ice cream truck. But so the human body has these two types of fats, and one of them takes forever for it to get rid of. You can induce the human body to kick that into overdrive, but I can't handle the night sweats. Like, I'm okay. Like, I'll ride this shit out. Like, I just cannot stand waking up in the middle of the night just burning hot. That's one of the other things that you'll suffer if you do like long-term fasting like I'm doing. The human body will just cook. Like, it'll just turn that shit up, and just, it'll cook you, just because it itself has a very difficult time of getting rid of these substances. So you can imagine, see what I'm saying? Like, you have to be very conscious of what you're putting in your mouth. Fasting is the key to that. Fasting is the key to understanding what you put in your mouth, and understanding that you can't just gouge yourself with all this fucking food. Like, and that's one of the reasons why I think American culture is not conducive to it. They'd rather not teach you it. They'd rather you not even know about it. And they'd rather leave that shit in the back burner. Never tell anybody. And just let it be. Because money, baby. It's all about that money. What do you mean you fucking with my money? I'm gonna need you to get I'm gonna need you to get the fuck out of here, Dr. Sevi. Anybody wants to talk about natural healing remedies, get the fuck out of here. Like, they don't want to hear that. It is crazy. Fasting. Oh yeah, by the way, I do not recommend anything above 72 hours. If you're doing it for religious reasons, I can completely understand. I've seen successful 2-week fast for religious purposes. Would I go that far? No. Hells no. You would not catch me anywhere doing above 72 hours. I think you could do 3 days. You know what I mean? I think you could do 3 days. It's all right. 2 days, maximum peak performance for workouts, routines, just trying to like lose a couple pounds for like a wedding, this or that, or like if you're trying to like just be conducive for like 2 months, you're gonna focus in on some shit, 72-hour schedule, you'll look amazing at the end of that. Like, dead ass. Like, holy fuck. Especially if you're paying attention to what you eat, You get your you get your actual supplements, vitamins, minerals, all that other shit, and eat your vegetables. Right, if you just pay attention to what you eat, and if you supplement yourself really well while you allow your body to heal during those two focused months on a 72, trust the you'll look younger, like dead ass. You'll look younger, you'll feel younger, you'll heal from like little pains and aches that you never knew you had. Really weird stuff. And 24 hours, that's if you want to live this way the rest of your life, which is kind of what I'm thinking of doing, because at the end of the day, I really think about it, and a lot of the bad behavior that comes out of, or not bad behavior, but the bad results, right? Like what symptoms we see arise if we keep repeating these patterns, come from the fact that one of them is if you eat after 8, right? If you eat and then go to bed, terrible for you, because your body is still like heavy with substances. So you want to go to bed on an empty stomach. You want to make sure that your body doesn't have to focus on anything else, and it could focus, because your sleeping period is the most important for one reason only. That is the only time that the body heals. Like, right, your skin will heal while you're awake and all this and all that, but some internal organs, there are some things that the human body cannot do while you're awake. I.e., example for me personally is me waking up like drenched in sweat. My body's cooking, but it's because I'm inducing that state, right? Like, I understand the human body on a very different level. By no means am I a medical expert. I'm just some crazy guy that likes to experiment on myself. Hey, I could teach you about punching your dick, all right? All right? And I'm not the one who invented that. All right? Keep that in mind. Solves erectile dysfunction, but whatever. That's a whole other discussion. Not only that, but it actually, all right, so like human veins, right? You can there's processes that you could go through that will induce the growth of certain human veins. We'll leave that at that. The human body is a fucking weird ass trip, all right? And fasting's taught me that. Fasting has been like one of the most interesting things that honestly, like, I don't think single-handedly fasting can solve a lot of problems. A lot of modern day problems that we're currently seeing just come up from dumb shit could be solved through fasting. Could be solved through eating better. Could be solved through having better food. But the system that we live in is not conducive to those conditions. It doesn't allow for us to have the freedom to live in that realm, or allow us those freedoms. You know, it is what it is, but at the end of the day, I'm not that worried about it, because I think it's, you know what I mean? Like, you can hand somebody all of the tools they'll need for fishing, but it doesn't mean they'll fish. Like, that's the way I look at it right now, because I've had a lot of people come up to me, ask me for advice, ask me for how to do this, how to lose weight, this or that. And a lot of it is, if you don't want it, I don't care. If you don't want it, I don't want to talk to you. If you don't really want to understand what the fuck I'm talking about, leave. Because this is coming from somebody who suffered their whole fucking life being fat, being bullied, having no self-esteem, like allowing myself to make stupid ass decisions because of that, because I was a loner, because I gave in to a lot of shadow decisions because of how morally bad I felt about myself, about how no confidence I had, about how I thought that nobody was ever going to like me. Like, there are a lot of things that came about me being fat. So when I talk about something very serious that I know a lot about, that I look at and I compare it to everything else in the industry, there is nothing better. Nothing. Because there's only two things that'll take you this far. A good eating, right? Good eating, you cooking, good food, right? That, and work ethic. Those are the only two things that actually will take you anywhere. Fasting is whatever, dude, but that shit won't get you far. That it'll get you far enough, but that's, you know what I mean? Like that's a that's a drive thing. You know what I mean? Like you can learn how to cook. You can like learn how to have a work ethic. But learning to give up food, that's a whole other fucking beast, dude. Learning to give up all of the things that you leaned on, that's a whole other thing, dude. I still remember the day I started fasting because it was so memorable to me. Because if anybody saw this sort of behavior, they would imagine you'd going through suicide because you're giving away your things. I gave away coffee cups. I gave away just coffee, like a fuck ton of coffee creamers, just bags of coffee. Like, I gave up my coffee maker. I was just giving everything that I felt that was causing a problem in my life. I gave it up. I was like, I don't even want this shit in the house. Like, I can't even remember the last time I had a top ramen soup. You know what I mean? Like, and that, I kind of want one now. But, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to think how much of an exertion has to come out of you to give up food. That's why, like, when I think about, so like, I have a really good buddy of mine who was asking me one time, like, what kind of girl would you go after? What kind of person would you like as a life partner? And I was never thinking about that. I had recently gone through some bullshit. I call it bullshit because I put myself through it. So I can call it bullshit. No, it was nobody else's fault but my fucking own, right? Because I know this person's probably watching. But, it just made me feel like I haven't actually been thinking about, like, seriously, like with some serious mental thought, I have not been thinking about what I would want in a person, in a partner, in a companion at all. Zero thought had gone into that. But right, like, this dude was pressing me, trying to figure this out, what I liked in somebody, da 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 da. And one thing that really came to mind was, if they don't fucking take their health as seriously as I take mine, I don't want it. And that, like, that right there really got to me because it dawned on me, like, what the fuck am I going to be doing? Wasting my time with somebody who does not want to eat the way I want to eat, who does not want to live their life the way I want to live my life. Like, what the fuck kind of bullshit would I... That's some crazy nonsense that I would be going through, right? But, and it's kind of funny coming from me, right? Because I said forever ago, like, I told somebody else, statistically, the probability of me liking somebody, the probability of there being a girl that I'm agreeable with is fucking zero. Zero. And the only reason why I could say that is because we're playing a game of statistics. If we lock it in between the region of the country, which is the United States, and we look at the current culture, if we look at the current rates of social behavior, what's agreeable, what's not agreeable, what's desirable, what's not desirable, I am not on that fucking list, dude. I am nowhere on that fucking list of desirability of potential mating partners. And any of the women that I know that have spoken to me, I'm like, nah, I'm not even there. Just because, like, the way I'm looking at it is I'm healing, but at the same time, I'm looking at everyone else that I've seen an offer from, and I'm like, nah, dude, fuck no. Fuck no. For what? For what? For me to go back to that lifestyle? For me to eat that way? For me to not give a fuck about my health? For me to, like, take on... Like, I don't even know how they live their life, right? There's that whole other aspect of shit. There's the whole other aspect of, like, what I've been working on is completely disagreeable to these people. Like, if I told them any of the theories that I had about, like, that I'm working on, it would not work out well at all. And I think that matters. At least to me it does, because the fuck am I, what am I going to be doing? Cooking every single fucking meal because the bitch I'm with doesn't even know how to fucking cook some decent chicken? But oh, it's because oh I don't want to use those ingredients or this or that, or I'd rather just buy frozen food, this or that. Like I've seen enough. I'm okay. I've I'm I'm good. I'm good. And when shout out to that fool for that, because honestly, I had put way too much time into understanding what the fuck fasting is, into trying to change my life, into trying to understand what the fuck's going on, for me to just end up with somebody who just doesn't want to think about these things, who doesn't want to talk about these things, who doesn't want to talk about like social paradigms, who doesn't want to talk about like what's inducive to like the behaviors of people and this and that. Like, dude, I'm a very peculiar kind of individual. For me to deal with some normal ass bitch, dude, the more I think about it, the more I dread. Like, and the more it makes me appreciate a single person that I had back in the day. Because I fucked that one up, right? I left her over stupid ass fucking reasons. And, it is what it is. But at the same time, like, you gotta go through these things sometimes to really appreciate, like, what the fuck matters. And, right, like, not a lot of people do. One of the great things that I'm gonna leave this off with was, what did the fuck they say? Like, you can live with anybody. Like, literally. Like, men will find ways of living with anybody under any conditions, as fucked up as they may be. But the thing that we never learn is, or at least the thing that nobody ever learned, right? That's where I'm coming from this at, is find the people you can't live without. And that's, I started thinking about that more. Especially after, like, just learning fasting. After just really wanting to, like, take my health serious, take everything I'm learning super serious. And the reason why at least I feel like I have to do this, is because I want to break that statistic. If you don't, you want to be compliant with that statistic. That's why I brought up that, that's why I made that whole stream about medical tyranny, was because you can't just allow these standards to exist. You can't allow others to create these standards and then think that, oh, like, this was, like, good or not. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I don't know. Thought about it. If you ever want to try a serious fast, do a serious 48 hours, as in fast for 48 hours. I don't care about what the eating window is, but fast for a full 48 hours. Because I think at 36 hours, your growth hormones start spiking. But if you can't get past a full 24 hours because the headaches are that bad, the irking is that bad, think about the food addictions we got. Because